I remember the exact moment I realized what needed to be done. It was a Tuesday morning in August 1968, and I was standing on the corner of Madison and Pulaski on Chicago's West Side, watching two kids, couldn't have been more than 14, eyeing each other from across the street. One wore blue, the other wore black and gold. Their hands were tense, hovering near their waistbands. I knew what came next. I'd seen it 100 times before. That's when it hit me. We were killing each other while the real enemy watched and smiled. My name is Fred Hampton. I'm 19 years old, and I'm the chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party. But before all that, before the leather jackets and berets, before the free breakfast programs and the community health clinics, I was just a kid from Maywood who got tired of watching my people destroy themselves. I was tired of going to funerals, tired of seeing mothers cry over sons who'd never see 20, tired of the Chicago Police Department treating our neighborhoods like war zones while doing absolutely nothing about the real violence, the violence we inflicted on each other. The gangs ran Chicago's South and West Sides. The Blackstone Rangers controlled the South Side with an iron fist. Thousands of members, sophisticated organization, respect and fear in equal measure. The Vice Lords held the West Side, proud and territorial, built from nothing in the late 50s by kids who had nothing else. Then you had the Latin Kings, the Young Patriots, poor white kids from uptown who everyone forgot about, and the Young Lords, Puerto Rican brothers and sisters fighting their own battles in Lincoln Park and Humboldt Park. These groups hated each other. I mean hated. Blood, feuds going back years, territory disputes that left bodies in alleys, revenge cycles that never ended because nobody could remember who started what anymore. The cops loved it. They'd sit back, watch us thin our own numbers, then roll in with paddy wagons when the smoke cleared, arrest who was left standing. It was perfect for them. We were doing their dirty work. But I saw something else when I looked at these young men. I saw soldiers without a war worth fighting. I saw organization, loyalty, discipline, all the things a movement needed. All that energy, all that passion, all that rage, if we could just point in the right direction that I started talking to people. Quietly at first. I'd known Marcus Caldwell from the Blackstone Rangers since we were kids. He was a lieutenant now, respected, with scars across his knuckles and eyes that had seen too much. I found him one afternoon outside of Pool Hall on 47th Street. "Marcus," I said, sliding onto the stool next to him. "I want to talk to you about something." He didn't even look up from his cigarette. "Hampton, heard you went all revolutionary. Black Panther now, huh?" "That's right." "So what you want with me?" "We ain't interested in politics." I leaned closer. "I'm not here to recruit you. I'm here to ask you a question. How many of your boys have you buried this year?" His jaw tightened. The cigarette burned between his fingers. "Forgotten? That ain't your business." "7, I said quietly. "I heard it was 7. And you know who killed 3 of them? Vice Lords. You know who killed the other 4? Cops didn't even bother to investigate. But I bet you got theories. I bet you know exactly which set did it. You making a point or you just here to piss me off? My point is this. While we're killing each other, they're building highways through our neighborhoods. They're tearing down our homes. They're making sure our kids go to schools that ain't got books. And we're so busy fighting over 3 blocks of nothing that we can't see we're all getting played." Marcus finally looked at me. Really looked. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying, what if we stopped? What if, just for one day, all of us, Rangers, Vice Lords, Kings, all of us, what if we sat down in the same room and just talked?" He laughed. Actually laughed. "Fred, you're smart, but you're dreaming. The Lord would never—" "I already talked to Bobby Gore." I interrupted. Bobby was a Vice Lord shot caller. "And yeah, I'd already had this conversation. He said the same thing about you. Said the Rangers would never sit down. Said you'd show up just to start shooting." Marcus's expression darkened. He said that. He also said if you were serious, if the Rangers were serious, he'd be willing to listen. But he don't think he got the guts. I knew what I was doing. I was playing on pride, on ego, on that deep-down desire. Every leader has to be the bigger man. It was manipulative. It was calculated. It was also necessary. When Marcus asked, 2 weeks. I'm still putting it together. Secret location. Just leaders, no soldiers, no backup, no guns. You bring your mind, your ears, and your willingness to hear something different. And if this is a setup, then I die right alongside you, I said simply, because I'll be in that room too. Over the next 10 days, I had the same conversation 12 times with 12 different people. Each one thought I was crazy. Each one had a list of reasons why it wouldn't work. Each one also had a little spark in their eyes, a hope they buried under years of violence and survival, that maybe, just maybe, things could be different. I secure a location, the basement of the Southside Community Church on 65th Street. Reverend Williams was sympathetic to the cause. He understood what I was trying to do. We set the date, Saturday, August 24th, 7 o'clock in the evening. But nothing stays secret in Chicago. The first sign came on Tuesday, 3 days before the meeting. My apartment was raided. Chicago PD, 6 officers, no warrant. They tore through everything, flipped my mattress, emptied drawers, looking for weapons, they said. They didn't find anything because there was nothing to find. But that wasn't the point. The point was the message. We're watching you. Wednesday, Reverend Williams called me, voice shaking. Fred, the police came by. They said if I let you use the church, they'd shut us down. Cited some fire code violations they've been ignoring for 5 years. My heart sank. Reverend, I understand. I didn't say no, he interrupted. I said I understand the risks. But son, you need a backup plan. I scrambled, called in every favor I had. Thursday evening, I found a new location, a community center in North Lawndale. The director was a brave woman named Dorothy, 60 years old with steel in her spine. They already tried to intimidate me once this week, she said. Didn't work. You can use the space. Friday afternoon, less than 24 hours before the meeting, Dorothy called me in tears. Fred, I'm so sorry. They came back, told me they'd arrest me for aiding and abetting gang activity. They said they'd take my granddaughter into protective custody. Said I was creating an unsafe environment. Fred, I can't risk her. I know, I said, my throat tight. I know, Dorothy. Thank you for trying. I was running out of time and running out of options. The police were systematically shutting down every location. They knew what I was planning, probably had informants in every organization I had talked to, and they were determined to stop it. Because the last thing they wanted was for us to stop fighting each other and start asking the real questions. That evening, I met with my closest Panthers, Deborah, Bobby Rush, and Jake. We sat in my cramped apartment, the walls still marked from the raid, and I laid it out. We've been burned 3 times. I said, the meeting's tomorrow night. I've got leaders from 5 organizations expecting a location, and I've got nothing. So we cancel, Jake said. Regroup? Try again next month. No, I shook my head. If we cancel now, we lose all momentum. They'll think we're weak. They'll think we can't organize. Worse, they'll think the police can control us. So what do you propose? Deborah asked that I took a breath. We go mobile. We pick a public meeting spot, somewhere the cops can't shut down, because it's too open. We gather everyone there, then we move, as a group. 2,000 people moving through the city together. Let them try to stop that. Bobby whistled. That's bold, Fred. That's real bold. Also maybe crazy. You got a better idea? He didn't. We spread the word through every channel we had. Grant Park, 6 o'clock, east side of the Buckingham Fountain. Come ready to move. Come ready for history. Saturday arrived with thick humidity and dark clouds, threatening rain. I barely slept. I kept running scenarios in my head. What if nobody showed? What if the police blockaded the park? What if violence broke out before we even got started? At 5:30, I walked to Grant Park with Deborah and Bobby. The sun was low, casting long shadows across the grass. As we approached the fountain, I saw them. People everywhere. Clusters of Blackstone Rangers in their black and red. Vice Lords in their gold and black. Latin kings with their distinctive gold and black regalia. Young patriots in denim and Confederate flag patches that made my skin crawl, but they were there, they come. Young lords and berets, proud and defiant. And then there were the others, community members, mothers, grandparents, kids, activists, students, people who'd heard what we were trying to do and showed up to witness it. I climbed on the fountain's edge to get a better view. My heart was pounding. I'd estimated maybe 3. For 100 people if we were lucky. There were 2,000 people in Grant Park that evening, 2,000 people who were tired of the violence, tired of the police brutality, tired of watching their neighborhoods crumble, tired of being told they couldn't work together. Before I could even process what I was seeing, I spotted them. Chicago PD cruisers, at least a dozen, surrounding the park's perimeter. Fred. Deborah grabbed my arm. They're here. I know. A police captain I recognized, Captain O'Malley, notorious for his rough tactics in black neighborhoods, approached with 4 officers. His hand rested on his baton. This gathering doesn't have a permit, he announced loudly. I'm ordering everyone to disperse immediately or face arrest. The crowd stirred. Angry murmurs rippled through the different groups. This was the moment where it could all fall apart, where old instincts would kick in, where violence would feel like the only option. I jumped down from the fountain and walked directly to O'Malley. Captain, these people have a constitutional right to assemble. Not without a permit, they don't. We're not blocking traffic. We're not destroying property. We're standing in a public park. You're organizing gang activity. I'm organizing a peace meeting. He leaned close, his voice low and venomous. I know what you're doing, Hampton. You think you're smart, getting all these animals in one place. But all I see is an opportunity. One spark, one fight, and I got justification to arrest every single one of you. I held his gaze. Then I guess you better hope nobody starts nothing. Sir. Behind me, I felt the crowd pressing closer. Marcus was there suddenly, at my right shoulder. Bobby Gore from the Vice Lords at my left. Cha-Cha from the Latin Kings right behind them. A united front. We ain't looking for trouble, officer. Marcus said calmly. We're just here to talk. O'Malley looked between us, calculating. He had the numbers. More squad cars were arriving. But he also had a problem. 2,000 witnesses, many with cameras, all watching how this would play out. It was 1968. The Democratic National Convention was coming to Chicago in 2 weeks. The whole world would be watching. The optics of mass arresting a peaceful gathering, especially one trying to stop gang violence, that would be a PR nightmare. You've got 30 minutes, O'Malley finally said. Then I want you gone. All of you. Understood. Understood. I said as the police pulled back, not far, but back. I climbed on the fountain again. Someone handed me a bullhorn I didn't even know we had. Brothers and sisters, I called out and the crowd quieted. We don't have much time, so I'm going to make this quick. The police don't want us here. The city doesn't want us together. You know why? Because they know that the moment we stop seeing each other as enemies and start seeing the real enemy, their whole game falls apart. Heads nodded. People were listening. We've been fighting over scraps while they hoard the whole meal. We've been killing each other over blocks they don't even want. Blocks they're planning to bulldoze anyway for their highways and their urban renewal that never seems to renew nothing for us. A few shouts of agreement rippled through the crowd. So here's what I'm proposing. Not a permanent peace. I ain't naive enough to think decades of beef disappear in one night. But a truce. A temporary ceasefire where we focus on the real problems. Where we protect our communities together. Where we build something instead of destroying everything. Where we gonna meet? Someone shouted. The police just shut down 3 locations. I smiled. We're gonna meet right here. Right now. And then we're gonna move. Because they can't shut down a moving meeting. They can't stop 2,000 people marching together through their city, showing them what unity looks like. The energy shifted. I could feel it, that electric moment when an idea becomes real, when people decide to believe in something. The original plan was to meet in a basement with 20 people. Screw that. We're going to march to Garfield Park. We're going to walk through these streets together. Rangers next to Vice Lords, next to Latin Kings, next to Young Patriots, next to Young Lords. and we're going to show Chicago what's possible. We're going to have our meeting under the sky where everyone can see. And if the police want to stop us, they're going to have to arrest all of us. The roar that went up from the crowd shook me to my core. We started moving at 6:45. 2,000 people flowing through the streets of Chicago like a river. The police followed, but what could they do? We weren't rioting. We weren't destroying anything. We were just walking. Together. People came out of their homes to watch. They stood on porches, leaned out of windows, stared in disbelief. I heard one old woman crying, saying, "I never thought I'd see the day." We reached Garfield Park at 7:30, just as the sun was setting. The golden light painted everything amber and red. We gathered in the open field, and I set up a simple circle, leaders in the center, everyone else surrounding us, witnessing. Marcus spoke first. "I'm tired of burying my brothers. If there's another way, I want to hear it." Bobby Gore went next. "We've been at war so long, I forgot what we were even fighting about. But I remember what we're fighting for: respect, safety, a future. Maybe we can get that better together." One by one, leaders from each organization spoke. They shared grievances. Yes, they shared pain. But they also shared hope, and then we drafted it. The Rainbow Coalition Truce. Not a formal treaty. We didn't have lawyers or fancy language. Just a simple agreement written on notebook paper. We, the undersigned, agreed to a temporary ceasefire. We agreed to protect our communities together, to resist police brutality together, to fight for better schools and housing together. We agree that our enemy is not each other. It's the system that profits from our division. This truce begins today. How long it lasts depends on us. Each leader signed it. Marcus, Bobby, Cha-Cha, the young Patriots representative, a skinny white kid named Buck who looked terrified but determined, Carmen from Young Lords, fierce and unwavering. When it was done, we held it up. 2,000 people cheered. The police watched from the perimeter, stone-faced. But I saw O'Malley making a phone call. I saw the way his expression darkened as he listened to whoever was on the other end. We stayed in that park until nearly midnight. People talked, shared food, made plans. There were tense moments. Old grudges don't disappear instantly, but they were handled, de-escalated, resolved through words instead of violence. When I finally got home at 2 a.m, exhausted and exhilarated, I found a note slipped under my door. No signature. Just typed words. Subject, Fred Hampton. Level, priority threat. Recommendation, immediate surveillance and countermeasures. The FBI had opened a file on me that night. I stood in my dark apartment, holding that note, and I felt the weight of what we'd started. The powers that be were scared. And when powerful people get scared, they get dangerous. But I also felt something else. Pride. Because for one night, we'd proven it was possible. We brought together groups that society said could never coexist. We walked through Chicago streets as one people. We looked at the system designed to divide us and said, "Not today." Was it perfect? No. The truce wouldn't last forever. Tribalism and territory run too deep for that. But it lasted long enough to show what was possible. It lasted long enough for people to see an alternative to endless violence. It lasted long enough for kids to imagine a different future point 2 weeks later. The Democratic National Convention descended into chaos. The police beat protesters in the streets while the world watched. But in our neighborhoods, the truce held. We organized. We built coalitions. We started free breakfast programs that fed thousands of kids. We opened health clinics. We taught political education classes. The police tried everything to destroy what we'd built. They'd succeed eventually. 13 months later, they'd kill me in my bed in a pre-dawn raid. 29 years old, murdered while I slept because I dared to imagine black, brown, and white poor people working together. But that night in Garfield Park, under a darkening summer sky, with 2,000 people who'd been enemies that morning standing together as allies, that night we showed them that their divisions were artificial. We showed them that their power depended on our separation. We showed them that young people, dismissed as thugs and gangbangers, could be visionaries and peacemakers that I was 19 years old. I'd united 5 enemy gangs. The police had tried to stop us 3 times. And 2,000 people showed up anyway. That's the power of an idea whose time has come. That's the power of people who decide they're tired of being played against each other. That's the power of solidarity. They could open all the FBI files they wanted. We'd already changed the world.